Violence inside Soweto is raising concerns about the safety of foreigners, and it seems there's a disturbing precedent. You remember South Africa was rocked by a series of xenophobic attacks almost 7 years ago. Let's talk now to Lawrence Mushwana, who speaks for the South African Human Rights Commission. Commissioner, good evening to you and welcome. Thanks for your time.
Good evening.
As you take a look at the story, and as I was saying to Jody there are many narratives inside this broader story. How do you determine exactly what's at play here, or is it too early to tell whether this is xenophobia? It's something our officials, our government officials are saying it isn't. They're saying it's pure criminality. From your vantage point tonight, what's your preliminary assessment?
We have been following the events as they were unfolding to see whether one can classify them either as xenophobia, Afrophobia, or simply criminality. Our observation is that it has taken many characteristics, because you will have criminality in it. You know, some foreign nationals are arrested because they were found in possession of unlicensed firearms. The looting that went on, but the mere fact that the looting itself was only concentrated into shops or spaza shop belonging to foreign nationals, and jumping or skipping spazas that belong to South African, has the characteristics of either xenophobia or Afrophobia.
And that's one of the distinctions some of our viewers are saying exists. They're saying, what's the difference between person and property? If the property is owned by a foreigner, by definition, isn't that xenophobic in essence?
I think the main distinguishing factor is if I loot your shop simply because you are a foreign national, I think that has the characteristics, main characteristics of xenophobia. But in this case, it is very difficult that the looting is because you are a foreign national. I mean, there's no point, as it just shows that people are simply looting. I mean, if a policeman is also involved in the looting, then that raises many questions, whether one can classify it as such. But our point of view, since our observation, I think a lot of it has to do with crime. If the police can strengthen their arm against these people who simply run and loot in the shop, I think it's something that we cannot accept.
The MEC for Gauteng Community Safety was in our studio earlier and talking about poverty and criminal opportunism being very much a part of the narrative here. What does it say to you? I mean, I know that you've said, again, you know, it seems like people are, it's stealing, it's theft, it's a crime. What does it also tell you? What's the story, Commissioner Mushwana, about poverty? Because a lot of the items being stolen are food items.
Yes. We held a workshop in December, and we have held a number of them in various provinces, Gauteng, Northwest, and I mean Northern Cape. The characteristics, for instance, in some other areas you'll find their drugs, but mainly you find them amongst spaza shop. And these issues only does not happen actually in affluent areas. It happens in areas where people are very poor. So poverty has a lot to do with these incidents that we are seeing.
I want to ask you about, again, you know, we hearken to 7 years ago when we had probably the most tragic outbreak and bloody outbreak of xenophobic attacks and violence in South Africa. It was, you know, all over the news. People, in one case, a man was burned alive in front of an entire camera crew. Tonight, in the Dobsonville police station, where one of our reporters is stationed, it's serving almost as a transit point for foreigners who want to seek safe passage out of Soweto through a police escort into a safer area, into a safe haven. I mean, surely there must be some serious red flags for you in this scenario.
I think so, because what will foreigners do, and what will these people do? I mean, once riot arises in a place, people take the opportunity, and spaza shops of foreign nationals, I think, are the most well-stocked shops as compared to those owned by South Africans. And the lives of foreigners cannot be guaranteed, particularly as we draw into the dark night.
Yeah. So
their life, I mean, I'm saying, the mere fact that they are going into the shops of foreign nationals and not to that of South Africans has the characteristics of first poverty and also xenophobic.
Again, leadership is needed in the situation. We were expecting to hear also operationally what's happening. In other words, what's being done to quell the violence and to bring the situation under control. What role do you as the Human Rights Commission play tonight at what is a very important and fragile situation?
Well, as you are saying, the fragile situation, I was meeting with my staff, the Gauteng staff, to analyze what is it that we can do. But our assessment of the area, for instance, tonight, is that it's too volatile for us as ordinary citizens stepping in there. But ours, as from tomorrow, is to try and see community leaders, because we do have people who serve in some of our committees dealing with foreign nationals, to try and see if we can trace some of the leadership within the communities who usually there are those people who are in spaza shops who attend our meetings.
You know, it's 3 days in, Commissioner Mushwana. Some might say, why are you taking so long?
Well, we are not taking so long, but it was scary. I mean, our people tried to, from the office, I was in Benoni, for instance, and our staff in our Gauteng office tried to move in there. And many of us were out there in Benoni, and we had to dispatch some of our staff back to try and rescue the situation. But the momentum, as it is happening now, it's very difficult to enter the storm because it's quite volatile at the moment.
All right, we'll leave it there, Commissioner. Thanks for your time. Appreciate that. Lawrence Mushwana is the chair of the South African Human Rights Commission.